In this video, Litecoin is back in the news, but this time it's not about price predictions, but it does have something to do with funds. And also, billionaire Tim Draper wrote a very nice piece about tribalism. It's very thought-provoking. We're going to take a look, and it all starts right now. It's Chip. The show is off the block and we are on the chain. You can see us at onthechain.io. If you come, you can learn more about what On the Chain is all about. You can see some of the contributors to the channel, and you can also see and get some updates down here at the OTC update section. Just simply put your name in there, put your email in there, and then bam, we'll start sending you updates. We're not going to spam you, but we'll give you some, we'll let you know what's coming up as we introduce some new things as well. Let's take a look at this. This was sent to me by NBK Krypto. That's at NBK Lyrad, L-Y-R-A-D. This article about Litecoin Foundation running out of money. We've seen this before, and just wanted to go dig down on this one a little bit. So basically they're at this standpoint again. Charlie Lee, as you know, he's Litecoin's founder. He said he did a quick estimate, and the current runway, in other words, how much money they have left, is between 1 to 2 years, depending on how finances for the Litecoin Summit goes. And how they've really been financing it as of late is through T-shirt sales. You know, I mean, they raised something around $200,000 on T-shirt sales, and you know, obviously, then the Litecoin Summit is a big part of that. They right over here, so Charlie Lee, who sold all of his, I mean, it's kind of hard to put any sort of clarity behind this because Charlie Lee sold his bags off in 2017, 2 major sales in 2017. Foundation's apparently spending about $1,500 on software and cloud services, which might be just their website, but no cost stated for development. And this is kind of the issue with the Litecoin project, is that they're always on the precipice of running out of money. This other story here was also sent to me by NBK Krypto. This is billionaire venture capitalist Tim Draper here. Let's go take a look. This is Tim Draper. You know Tim Draper. He runs a bunch of different things. Wrote the Startup Hero. He's runs Draper Associates and the Draper Venture Network. He's a big venture capitalist. Puts his money where his mouth is. Spent a lot of money investing in and out inside of crypto. He also has the Draper University, which they have mentored and launched a lot of different people. Here's your capital right there. He does a lot of education. So he's doing a lot in the space. And I wanted to kind of highlight this piece that he wrote right over here, actually. This was, he wrote something called Preface, Tribalism to Globalism. And the basic assertion that he makes here is that countries, you know, before they were countries, they were tribes. And tribes banded together and they shared alike and they did stuff that would advance, and they had safety in numbers. And as they kind of had gone along and grew, he then equates that to, you know, countries being formed and then moving through it. Highlighted a couple items here. The startup currency, in a seemingly unrelated event about 10 years earlier, Bitcoin was created. Bitcoin is a currency that is global, open, transparent, and decentralized. With it, people everywhere can send money frictionlessly without the need to pay banks and credit card companies their 2.5% to 4%, Western Union 8% to 16%, or central government authorities, whichever they take. With Bitcoin and decentralization that comes with Bitcoin, geographic borders have become less relevant. No longer are we at the mercy of dictators and trolls and toll trolls to grow the world economy, Venezuelans, Nigerians. So he goes on to basically talk about how we have sort of become, you know, Bitcoin really was the very first digital asset out there to really go ahead and pioneer this. He says thousands of years ago, people organized into these tribes because they afforded security and protection. And the system worked well for the people of the world, but people generally kept to their own. And that's what he's talking about. But one of the things that I sort of disagree with him here is he says the change is coming, it's happening. Bitcoin made it clear to all of us that we can share in the same global economy with the same basic values using a unifying global currency. Those that resist this global currency cling to tribalism by saying things like, I don't understand Bitcoin, or Bitcoin was just a means to an end. The blockchain is the thing, or Bitcoin is not money because it's not backed by anything. Now, it's interesting that in the beginning of this, starts off by talking about tribes and tribalism, referring to it as births of nations and countries that organized along a certain set of rules. But then when he comes back over here and he starts equating it to digital assets, he goes boom right back into tribalism, because he's basically saying and making it known as Bitcoin is the only digital asset, when he's ignoring all the hundreds and if not thousands of other digital assets that are out there. So funny thing is, in the beginning, all about no tribalism, then he hops right back on the tribalism bus right over here. So he basically says he believes governments, like any business is challenged by a new environment, must adapt to the new marketplace. And this is the marketplace of accountable, transparent, competitive governance. In addition to those services that our government provides that are local and tied to a geographic territory, a tribe. And today's government must determine what they can provide across border to the cloud in a virtual sort of economy. So what does a government sell that can be provided virtually? Well, that's kind of right, but if we look at Bitcoin, there may not be the transparency involved, especially when you don't have, when you're off grid and you're not using anti-money laundering or know your customer, right? And we know that McAfee just opened the doors to his sort of, I would call it an exchange, if you will. And it really does bypass all that. But I do believe that government will become, if we can track where government's spending the tax money, where they're spending our money, I think we have a bigger shot at this. So he closes it here with Bitcoin brought with it a few fundamental technologies that can accelerate our transformation from a tribal planet to a global one. And this, my second book, I'll explain why I think technologies, when combined with artificial intelligence, will not only transform industries like banking, finance, and healthcare, real estate, and insurance, but also the biggest of them all, government. I do believe there's something to be said about that. However, I'm not exactly sure it's going to be one digital asset. I think it's going to be multiple digital assets, especially ones that can move very quickly and frictionless. When you look about frictionless is very, very low cost and fast. So I think he got some things right here. But overall, it is a very thought-provoking article, and I will have it in the link down below. Please let me know what you thought about this article. Was it on? If you took a read, what were your thoughts on it? Let me know down below. This is Chip, off the block, on the chain. That's my take. What's yours? Chip